All right, so we talked about today how you think is so much more important than what you know as an entrepreneur, because how you think is going to determine what you notice, the actions you take, the actions that you don't take, even the ideas that come to mind are going to be based more on how you think than what you know. Then we talked about what single thing will determine your success in business more than anything else. And we covered a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it all the things that we covered, whether it was who you knew, what you knew, how passionate you were, your connections, your knowledge, your industry expertise, what have you, all of those things only added up to really defining your potential. And unless you're living at your full potential right now, adding more potential does not equal greater results. If it did, your results would already equal your potential. So there's something blocking you currently and everyone else out there from tapping into their full potential. And what it is a constraint. Now, it's not a single constraint. There are many, right? But any time that you remove a constraint in your business, you automatically jump up a level in performance. You take more of that potential that's just sitting there that you're not currently capitalizing on and moving it into your business and into the results. Because what's stopping all that potential from moving into your business are a series of constraints. So what happens is that when you identify a constraint and then you remove it, you immediately jump up a level or two levels or three levels, but you don't jump all the way to infinity. Something else stops you, right? And that something else that stops you is your next constraint that you have to find, right? So that is what we were looking at during this live stream. Now, the very next step to identify a constraint is we first have to identify what are the boundaries of the system. And we spoke a lot about systems too. What is a system, right? A system, we're not going to get into all the details here about it, but a system is ultimately, the purpose of a system is to achieve some kind of goal. If we were to say what the human body is a system, right, made up of many smaller systems, and the goal of the human body is to live a long, healthy life, right? Your business is a system. The goal of your business is to make money now and in the future, and we talked about why you might have many other goals, but that has to be one of your goals if your business is going to survive. We also talked about how your business is ultimately a system for your customer to get the outcome that they do business with you in the first place. And whatever business creates the best system for their customers will generally win long term in the market, although that's not always the case, that is generally the case. All right, so every system has a constraint because there is no system out there that works and delivers an infinite amount of the goal. And so the goal of what we're trying to do is figure out what that constraint is. Now, before we can do that effectively, we first have to, like I said, define the boundaries of the system. And to define the boundaries of the system, what we have to do is we have to ask ourselves, what is the goal of this business? And I gave you an example of how my goal when I was first starting Strategic Profits was to make $150,000 a month. And so the first question that you really have to ask yourself once you know what the goal of your business is why are you not doing it right now? Like, why are you not, like for me, it was like, why am I not making 150,000 right now? And I had a whole bunch of reasons why I wasn't making $150,000, right? I didn't have any front ends to acquire customers with. I didn't have affiliates. I didn't have mid-tier products. I didn't have a list that was hot, right? And so on and so on and so forth. So I had all these reasons, but what I found is that even just coming up with those reasons was very liberating because it was the first time I really thought about what stood between where I was and where I wanted to be. And these reasons were really obstacles to having what it was I wanted, right? So we took you through an exercise which is called an intermediate objective map. And in an intermediate objective map, what you do is you come up with all the reasons why you don't have that business right now. And then you turn them into objectives. So not having a front end product to acquire customers, like a low price product to acquire customers, right? That being an obstacle, the intermediate objective is I have a front end product that is low price that acquires many customers a day, right? Not having a list means I have a list, right? Like, so I'm just turning them into their positive. And then you're putting them in sequence by asking, do I need this to, which comes first, this or this? Which comes first, this or that, right? And you're just comparing until you put them in the order of what you would have to do to achieve them, okay? And so you map that out. And we talked about how to map that out. And then from there, you start challenging that map. You ask yourself, do I need to accomplish all these objectives to really get that goal? Is there any way that I could do it without these? Is there any objective missing as I look at this map of the objectives? Is there any other big rock that has to be accomplished? And let's say that you've kind of finalized the map. Now the next thing is you want to challenge the map. And this is where this was the game changer for me. Right? The game changer for me was challenging that map because I had listed like 15 different obstacles that were standing between me and the $150,000 a month I wanted to make. And what I did was I looked at that map and I started to think about, like, is there any way to get all these obstacles, right? Because you have the intermediate objective and the obstacle side by side, right? Is there any way that I can make these intermediate objectives irrelevant? Like, I don't have to do them. And is there any way I can get rid of all these obstacles in bigger, like, one fell swoops, right? And a lot of ways, there are a bunch of ways to challenge this intermediate objective map, right? One way to do it is ask yourself, if you had to get it done 90% faster, right? If you only had 10% of the time, what would you have to eliminate? If you wanted to make 10 times what the goal was, right? Anything that's forcing you to do it faster, bigger, better is a way of kind of challenging it. And by challenging it, what you're hoping to do is stimulate ideas. And for me, what I figured out when I was challenging it was that if I had a free report, I could knock out about 5 of the obstacles. If that free report led to a $5,000 program, I could knock out another 3 obstacles. And I don't even remember and if I did group coaching, that would knock out the last remaining obstacles. So I was able to go from making about 25,000 a month to making 400 plus thousand a month, or grossing about half a million a month and taking home about 200,000 a month and having about 3.5 million in my PayPal account within a matter of months after I did exactly what I just shared with you. Was there more to the equation that got me to those numbers? Of course there was. But would I have ever gotten there if I hadn't done this? No, I don't think so. So this was integral. And so that's my recap of what we covered during this live stream. So what do you guys think? Was that a good recap? I hope it was. Yeah, it's live. I'm here. Did you think I disappeared or something? Cool. Because what I'm going to do with the recap now that I recorded it, is that's what I'm going to use as a video to actually promote. Because what I found is that promoting the whole live stream made no sense. It didn't really make any kind of, it didn't get, we've gotten over 1 million views, but doesn't really help me. And I think doing it by recap will be more powerful. In addition to that, the notes will be the recap I just said transcribed. So I'm going to put that in the Facebook group, so you'll get it there. And for those of you who probably have now typed in get notes, you saw that I was also giving away a gift if you pass the word around. I'm not supposed to say the other word. So that was an experiment. If it worked well, I will change the gift. But I wanted to see how effective we could use this strategy. And if it worked, this was a strategy that I learned from Molly Mahoney an hour before we started, or really like a half an hour before we started. And she helped put it in place for me so that I could see if it worked for me here live with you guys. So I'm 10 minutes over. Thank you all for spending the time with me. As I said a little bit earlier, I really do appreciate you. I think a lot of people out there who teach or who get to my position kind of take it for granted that people should just listen because they exist or something like that. I have a hard time sometimes getting my kids to listen to me. I have a hard time sometimes getting my girlfriend to listen to me, so I don't take it for granted that you should listen to me. Sometimes I don't listen to others, so I know how it is. And so I just want to say thank you for taking the time. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. For all of you who commented, for all of you who interacted with me, I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you telling others about it. I appreciate the industry. That's one of the reasons I'm back. I I never thought I'd be where I am. I never thought I would have had the impact that I had. Um, this like a lot of this was a surprise to me. When I wrote the manifesto, I was hoping to get 12 clients. I had no idea that it would be downloaded millions of times, you know, and that I would have the impact, the life, and just the ability to do what I love every single day and to do it for people I care about. It's one of the reasons why I don't like working with big corporations. And unfortunately, even Agora has gotten so big, it's not the same anymore. I don't enjoy big companies. Things move too slowly. There's layers of politics. You would be shocked at how quickly you have to bend the knee to this person to make sure that everything's okay because they have too much power over stuff getting done. So I don't mind speaking to Google, and I don't mind speaking to Yahoo or Facebook or no, well, I haven't spoken to Facebook or Microsoft, but like I could never work in any of those companies. One, I'm not hireable, but like I'm just I'm not a like I like to make my own hours. I like to do that, but even still, like just even in a vaulted position in any of those businesses, as a full-time consultant to any of those businesses, I could not survive because things operate in such a painful way. And anyone who's spent any time in corporate America knows what I'm talking about. I never have spent any major time in corporate America, but I have spent enough time doing consulting gigs with businesses and consulting in America. And while they have deep pockets and they pay a lot, they move at a snail's pace and they challenge every good idea, and it's just unpleasant. So I appreciate just the market. I appreciate each and every one of you, and thanks for being here. And I'll see everyone next Tuesday. I hope you have an amazing July 4th weekend, if that's still even a holiday in the U.S. with all this craziness. And if you're not in the U.S., which many of you are not, then you probably don't have this holiday. So I just hope you have a great weekend as is. And I'll talk to everyone on Tuesday. To Higher Profits and Beyond, Rich Schefren, over and out. Thanks, guys.